How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to On the Ball and welcome back to some more tier list for you guys. We did the goalkeepers that was released this morning. We did our 1 to 10 of all the teams that are in Europe plus Tottenham and Chelsea. So what we're going to be looking at today is a backline. So we've got the same teams as yesterday. So you've got Arsenal, Man City, United, Newcastle, Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea, Brighton, Villa and West Ham. And if we do go through the backlines, you've got Arsenal, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Kiwior, Tomiyasu, Timber and Cedric. Timber is out for the majority of the season though. You've got Man City, you've got Diaz, Ake, Gvardiol, Akanji, Stones, Walker and Lewis. United, you've got Varane, Martinez, Lindelof, Maguire, Johnny Evans, Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, Reguilon and Luke Shaw. Newcastle got Botman, Byrne, Shah, Trippier. Quite amazingly, they still got Jamal Lascelles, Dummett, Manquillo and Livramento. Liverpool, we've got Virgil van Dijk, Konate, Robertson, Trent, Matip, Gomez and Tsimikas. Spurs with Romero, Van de Ven, Porro, Udogi, Emerson, Davis and Phillips. Chelsea, there's Thiago Silva, Colwill, James, Chilwell, Badiashile, Disasi, Fofana, who's also out for a majority of the season, Chalobah, Gusto and Cucurella. Brighton, Dunk, Veltman, Webster, Estepinian, Lamptey, Van Heck and Igor. Villa have got Torres, Konsa, Cash, Dean, Moreno, Carlos, Chambers and Tyrone Mings and Clement Longley as well. And West Ham have Agerd, Zuma, Soufal, Cresswell, Mavropanos, Emerson, Ben Johnson and Ogbonna. So, I mean, we have to kind of rate what they've got at the first choice, but I think the cover also has to massively come into play for this one as well. So I guess we'll start off at the bottom. So out of those, who do you think who's worse off in defence?
If you're talking about on paper, there is probably a good shout to say Brighton have the worst on paper because Lewis Dunk is a good defender. I like Estepinian as well. But apart from that, they are lacking a bit. Like who would take Van Heck or Webster in their team? Lamptey's fallen off quite a lot in the last 18 months or so. That's a big shame. Obviously, Veltman's a good defender as well. I like him, but when you're comparing him to the other right backs that we're talking about on the list, he's good, but is he as good as the others? I don't know. So, and also, I think the way they play, it covers a lot of their defensive flaws, but I think defensively, individually, they're fairly weak. I just think, and also there doesn't seem to be loads of depth there for Brighton. If Dunk picks up a long-term injury, they're looking quite short. So I think Brighton have a good shout to be bottom.
Well, on my list, I do have Brighton here as the 10th best, so it's hard for me to argue against it. I completely agree. I mean, apart from Dunk and Estepinian is probably, one of, if not the best left back in the Premier League at the moment. He's performing unbelievably well last season as well. Lewis Dunk, I think he could get a spot on some of the teams above, but apart from that, Veltman, Webster, Van Heck, Lamptey and Igor, none of them are getting probably anywhere near the other teams. So Brighton have got to go into number 10.
There you go.
In terms of number 9, on my list, I've got West Ham here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, they're the obvious choice. I actually think Agerd is one of the most underrated centre-backs in the league. I'm a big fan of Agerd. I thought he was brilliant at the World Cup for Morocco. I think last season he was suffered with a lot of injuries for West Ham. But I think this season, when he start the season really, really well, and I actually think he's a really good centre-back. And potentially could be a higher level than West Ham. Zuma on his day is really solid, but injuries and he's a bit inconsistent as well with his play. Soufal, when he first came to Premier League, was really good, but hasn't quite been as good for the past year or so. And then Cresswell is definitely aging. So I think they have to go in next, considering if you're just taking... Because if you look at their depth, I like Keraha. He's not bad. Ogbonna's not a terrible backup centre-back as well. So
Mavropanos does as well.
Mavropanos, I wasn't a big fan of him at Arsenal, but never really got too much game time.
Yeah, but he made his name, didn't he? Wasn't it in the Bundesliga last season?
Yeah.
In the last couple of years. So I don't think you can really take his time at Arsenal, really.
That's all I know.
into account, I think is where you got to take into account is what he did after leaving Arsenal, because he got moved to West Ham off the back of that, not off the back of his Arsenal form.
I know, but I'm just saying, last time we saw him in the Premier League, he wasn't exactly pulling up any trees. But we have seen players who go from the Premier League, move out, improve their game, then come back and do extremely well. So you're probably right on that. But if I'm looking at the other back lines, even if I just take the first four, I felt they definitely have the weakest first four. There's an argument to say, like, in depth-wise, they might have more depth than Newcastle. They might have more depth in the central area than Spurs as well. But I just think the first four, there's such a big disparity. They have to be last.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I had West Ham as number 9. I think it was fairly close with them and Villa, to be honest, because I had Villa in 8, and with Villa you got Pau Torres, Konsa, Cash, Dean. You've got Moreno, who's good cover, Carlos, who's good cover, Mings and Longley as well, with Callum Chambers. So I actually think they've got fairly good cover, Aston Villa, but I think their cover and their first choice are too similar, and I don't think like the quality is that good, but it's at a fairly good level, if you know what I mean.
I think actually Villa's defense is pretty solid. Like if you're a new Newcastle manager and you've got Newcastle set defenders right now, who they've got, including their backup, and you've got Villa's set defenders. If you asked me, would I swap if I was Newcastle? Would I swap them? I think I would, I think I would swap them because they've got more depth. I think the quality there, I know Pau Torres hasn't started that well, but I think he's a good defender. I really like Konsa. Mings is solid as well, although he's out for a while. Alex Moreno is a good backup left back to Luka Dean, who I think is a really good left back as well. Matt Cash is a solid right back. Like Newcastle have Trippier, Shaw, Botman, and Burn. And after that, it's really slim pickings for them. And if you look at the quality of Villa's first four and Newcastle's first four, obviously Newcastle had an amazing defensive season last season, don't get me wrong. They were so solid, keeping loads of clean sheets. But I'm actually looking at it with quality, apart from Botman, but there's Botman and Trippier who are really good, obviously. Shah's, they are good, all of them are good. Burns, I think, overrated, in my opinion. I think
he had a great season.
I know, but I think he's overrated. I think he's going to start to get caught out this season, in my opinion. I don't think he's a good long-term solution at left back for them. But they do have Lewis Hall coming through, but he is only 18. I actually think Villa, on paper, have a better set of defenders than Newcastle, in my opinion. I would have Newcastle on paper as 8th. I think the players that Newcastle have in the forward line, in the first four, for me, outweigh what Aston Villa have, because I think Sven Botman is an unbelievable defender. I really rate him really highly. Kieran Trippier was probably the best right back in the Premier League last season, so that tells you where he's at. Shah and Dan Burn, no matter if you think they're overrated or not, they performed at a really high level last season. And I would take that Newcastle first choice first and foremost over the Villa first choice. I do think Villa have better cover, but I think that first choice outweighs what Villa offer. I don't. I think the first choice between Newcastle have better first choice set defenders, but I think the gap in the first choice between Newcastle and Villa is doesn't outweigh what cover that Villa have. Like, would I rather Dean and Moreno or Burn and Hall? I think I'd probably have Dean and Moreno.
I didn't even put in Hall for this one.
Yeah, Hall's there as well.
Isn't
the guy's 18. Would I rather Mings and Pau Torres or Botman and Lascelles? I think I'd probably Mings and Pau Torres. Would I rather Shah and I don't know who their other I don't know who our other backup centre backs are for Newcastle. They've got Lascelles and they've got one.
They can move Dan Burn or you know what I mean.
Dan Burn. Dan Burn is had a great season, but I think he's already starting to get caught out a lot this season, and I think he can be quite slow. He's very tall and strong, but I think like the four centre backs for Villa, Mings, Konsa, Diego Carlos, and Pau Torres. Would I rather them or Botman, Shah, and Lascelles? I think I would rather them on paper, to be honest, if you offered it to me. And
Botman, Shah, and Lascelles.
No, I'd rather the Villa ones. I would rather have Pau Torres, Mings, Konsa, and Carlos than I would have than Botman, Shah, and Lascelles.
If you're going to make a flat back four out of the two teams, who's going in the team? So you're going to have Kieran Trippier at right back.
Yeah.
You're going to have Sven Botman and probably who's partnering Sven Botman at the back if you're going to make a combined four?
You'd probably have Sven Botman, and I think you probably put Shah in there, to be honest.
So Sven Botman and Shah, and then at left back you'll probably have who you're going to have at left back.
I would have Luca Dean.
So fine, Luca Dean. That's fair enough. That's in the starting lineup. That's 3 Newcastle players out of the 4.
Yeah, I'm saying they're better. They have a better first choice, but I don't think the gap between Botman, Shah, and Pau Torres and Konsa, who I'm saying I guess is Villa's first choice. I don't think it's like I rate Pau Torres and Konsa. I think they're good defenders. I don't think that gap is that big that I wouldn't take the adequate cover compared to, like, I think if we were talking about if they just had like Diaz and Akanji or something, or like that gap was so massive you'd have to take them. But I think the gap between Botman and Shah and the other two is they're better, but I don't think they're so much better that I'd rather have Lascelles. I'd rather take Lascelles as backup than I would with Mings and Diego Carlos, who I also think are 2 good defenders as well.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, this one, because like you would prefer like the starting choice from Newcastle, but you prefer the backup from Aston Villa and the cover that Aston Villa bring.
I'm just saying, if you're a Newcastle fan, if you're offered straight swap, you can give Villa all your defenders and you take all of Villa's defenders. I think they take it.
I don't think they would.
I
think it decreases their starting 11 if they do that.
I think it's better for their squad,
it's better for their squad, but I think
there's enough
for their starting 11.
I think there's enough good defenders there that there's more than enough to work with, and I think a lot of them are not maybe reaching their proper potential, just like Shah wasn't before Eddie Howe came in, or I know Dan Burn signed after, but a lot of the defenders before Eddie Howe came in for Newcastle weren't looking as good, and now he's there. Like Shah's like a new man. I think like, yes, Unai Emery's doing a great job for them, and he's got like all these defenders playing well. I just think they have a better set of defenders, in my opinion, than Newcastle overall. I would choose Villa. I would choose Newcastle next, then Villa. That's what my choice would be.
I would choose Villa next, then Newcastle.
So you have to flip a coin.
It's just like, I don't think a Newcastle fan wants to swap the Villa defence for them.
You wouldn't, because they had such a great season. But I think for me, looking at it objectively, I would swap it.
So how are we going to do this?
I don't know. You have to flip a coin.
Where's that trusted 50p coin?
Where's the old 50p? Wonder what the.
Maybe we'll get Sammy to have the deciding vote. What do you think, Sammy?
I say Villa 8 and Newcastle 7.
Well, there you go. The Sammy has spoken.
All right, I may have been outvoted. I think we're being blinded by Newcastle's good defensive record last season. I think Villa have a better set of defenders.
Well, all will be revealed, won't it, over the next few months. But Villa are going into 7th. I mean, Villa are going into 8th. Newcastle are going into 7th. In terms of 6th, what are we looking at for 6th? What are you thinking?
On paper, the thing is, I think obviously the next choice might be Spurs.
That's what I've got down.
But I think obviously I'm really liking Porro at start of the season. Udogie started so well. The problem is we've got a lot of new guys in there. Van de Ven and Udogie have only just really joined. Romero had a poor season last season, but also won a World Cup. Porro had a mixed start to his career, but he's had a really good start to this season. And then obviously I think it's probably between them and Chelsea. And maybe United potentially thrown in there as well, because I'm not a massive fan of their right backs. I think Wan-Bissaka and Dalot are.
I rate Chelsea much higher.
Chelsea, they've got good. The thing with Chelsea is they've got amazing depth.
Yeah, they've got really amazing starting lineup as well. You're looking at Chilwell and James, who are 2 of the top fullbacks in the league. You've got Colwill, who's up and coming. Obviously, he hasn't done it for long enough. He's a young defender coming through, but he does look very good. Thiago Silva, I know you got to caveat his age, but I mean, he's still a top defender. And then they've got amazing covering: Badiashile, Disasi, Fofana, who is out injured for a while, Gusto, Cucurella, and Chalobah. I think Chelsea have got one of the best defences in the league, in my opinion.
On paper, they do. Yeah, they do. I think Chelsea are solid. Like, I think they've got really good balance as well. They got good cover everywhere. It's all very young, apart from Thiago Silva. The problem with them is they just can't keep them all on the pitch. Like, James is so injury prone. Cucurella's not really done it. they've just got, and a lot of the other players like Disasi, Gusto, very young, Colwell's very young. But on paper, in terms of quality and depth, they probably go above Spurs. I would say. I would say I can make a good argument that Tottenham potentially have a better first four, but I would say with the quality, with the depth, I would have to have Chelsea ahead of them.
But I think the main reason why Spurs go into sixth is because of the depth. We don't have anyone to cover at centre back where you're thinking, all right, cool, this is amazing cover. Literally nobody. We're the only club on this list that have that. I think the reason,
I'd say as well.
Well, I mean, at least Newcastle actually have like recognised centre backs on their bench. We don't.
We've got
Phillips, who's an 18-year-old kid. Apart from that, we got nobody. Dyer hasn't even been on. He's not even on the bench for a Carabao Cup game when we're playing our second team.
I know, but
he's being completely frozen out.
I know, but he might be reintegrated. We can't. It's too early to say whether
he's
he will
already
be
been
or not.
knocking on Daniel Levy's door.
Well, apparently Levy called that meeting, but anyway, it's irrelevant. Yeah, I think Spurs probably go into this just because the depth is so bad. They have any injury. I think the first four are really good though. I like the first four.
That's why they get into sixth, because the first four is actually quite good.
Yeah, but the backup is just horrific.
Yeah. So Spurs, I think, do go into sixth. Next up in fifth, I've actually got Liverpool down in fifth.
You got Liverpool in fifth?
Yeah.
I would say I rate Liverpool higher than Man United, in my opinion. As much as I think Man United have a good set of defenders as well. Luke Shaw, so injury prone, good defender though. I don't rate their right backs, Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. I think they're like decent, but I
like Dalot. I think Dalot's a really good player.
I think he's good. I don't think he's anything compared to like a Trent, in my opinion.
Well, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, so we're comparing Liverpool. For their first choice, Van Dijk and Konate, in my opinion, I'd rather them than Martinez and Varane.
But the same thing you're saying about Shaw, you're saying about Konate. You can't hardly ever. He's injured again. He's always injured, Konate.
Yeah, he's also got his injury problems. I don't mind their backup centre backs, Matip and Gomez. I think they're decent. They've won leagues at Liverpool. I think they've always been able deputies.
Joe Gomez as well.
Joe Gomez
always has his injury problems.
Yeah, but he's fit. He's available now.
Yeah, for how long?
Yeah, but he's available. Look, yeah, he's also got his injury problems. But I think for me, the quality there for Liverpool, Robertson as well, I rate higher than Luke Shaw. And I guess Chelsea also in that conversation, but I think Chelsea's depth is what, and they've got a good first four and they've got really good depth. So on paper, they probably don't fit this position. I think I'll probably go Man United. I think Varane is still good, but I don't think he is what he used to be. As much as he's really good, he's still at a good level. Van Dijk didn't have a great season last season, but I reckon he's going to turn it around. Two seasons ago, he was still one of the best in the league.
Yeah, but what you're saying about Varane is he's still good, but he's not the player he was. Van Dijk is still good.
Yeah, but I think Van Dijk is better than Varane. I would rate Van Dijk higher than Varane.
Yes, I would agree, but I still think, I don't think there's that much in it, to be honest, between Van Dijk and Varane.
But I think Van Dijk's better. And then, and then you say, I'm saying Trent's better than Dalot. I'm saying Robinson's better than Shaw. And then you got Martinez or Konate. It's fairly even.
I think if you're going on purely first 11 on paper, Liverpool are better, 100%. But I think when you're taking everything into account, and I mean, Liverpool hardly got that much cover at all. Matip, who I'm not a massive fan of. Gomez, I'm not a massive fan of.
You're a massive fan of Maguire?
No, but I think they've got more there, Man United, to cover.
Would you rather Maguire, Lindelof, or Matip and Gomez?
Probably Matip and Gomez.
So then Liverpool.
Yeah.
So Liverpool are higher.
All right, we'll go Man U fourth and Liverpool fifth.
No, Man U fifth.
I mean, Man U fifth and Liverpool fourth.
Man U fifth, Liverpool fourth, and then probably Chelsea. Yeah, probably have to go Chelsea because look, Arsenal. To be fair, with the Arsenal conversation, obviously Timber's out for the season. There's no fault of their own. Tomiyasu was good when he first signed. I haven't rated him that much in the last year, to be honest, and not just because he can't stay fit. I just don't think he's that great, to be honest, Tomiyasu. But then their first four is White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. It's a really good first four, especially Saliba. Obviously, he's the star in that. I think Chelsea probably have more depth, than Arsenal, considering the Timber injury right now. But quality-wise, Arsenal have to be there. I mean, I think they might even. I'm looking at Liverpool, man. I'm thinking, are they too low?
No,
I don't know. I think Liverpool have a better first four than Chelsea. I really believe that.
Chelsea got a much better set of defenders than Liverpool as a whole.
They've got a better set of defenders than Liverpool. Yes, they do, because Badshile and
Especially
Fofana.
when you take into account Liverpool's injury problems at the back with,
Oh, you don't want to talk injury problems if you're going to bring Chelsea into the equation.
Yeah, you've got Fofana out for
James
for a long
can
time.
never stay fit ever.
James can't ever stay fit, but even so, they've still got a really good set of defenders there.
We don't know really how good Gusto is going to be. Chilwell's great, but he also has his injury problems. Thiago Silva, he's 39 now.
I like Badiashile as well.
Badiashile's good. He's injured at the moment, but he's good. I like Badiashile as well. Colwell.
I really like Colwell.
Colwell's really good.
Silva keeps proving me wrong every year. I'll be like, oh, he's too old for this year. He's too old for this year. But
I think Silva's good, like really good. But I think he's really good. But I don't think he's as good as Van Dijk. I don't think he's as good as Varane either right now, in my opinion, at his age. Like I'm not just because he's 39. I'm looking at him and how he's performing. I don't think he's performing at the level of those two right now at this stage of his career. I really don't.
Yeah, but the difference is, like, Chelsea have the cover. Liverpool don't really have cover too much. Who's their cover for left back?
Tsimikas.
Who's their cover for right back?
Probably Joe Gomez.
Exactly. So you've got one player covering two positions. It's not adequate cover, in my opinion. They need.
But they have a.
They need more
I think they have
players
a better first four. I do think they have a better first four. I think Van Dijk and Konate are better than Colwell and Thiago Silva. I think Robertson's better than Chilwell. And I think Trent is better than James.
I'm not even sure if Robertson's better than Chilwell, you know?
That's pretty even, but I would say I would shade
Chilwell's
Robertson.
better than Robertson.
I would shade it for Robertson. I think Robertson's a bit better. I think it's even.
I would prefer Chilwell in my team.
Okay, but okay, fair enough. But I think it's fairly close. We can agree on that.
And I'd even prefer James to Trent.
I wouldn't. I don't think James is as good as Trent.
I prefer James to Trent. I think, obviously Trent is much better going forward, but I think James is a better all-round player.
I just don't think he's proven it on a consistent basis, James, to say that, in my opinion. I think a lot of the time, to be honest, last season I thought he was a bit of a train wreck. I know the whole of Chelsea were, but I thought when he was on, not just because of injuries, I thought when he was on the pitch, I thought he was pretty average, James, to be honest. And then the season before that, I can't remember what was it. Chelsea finished third. He was pretty good, but again, injuries. But I thought he was pretty good the season before that. But Trent, we've seen him put consistent performances together at a high level. We just haven't seen that from James to say he's as good as Trent.
Yeah, it's a shame because the only thing holding Reece James back is injuries. I think if it wasn't for these injuries, he was getting in ahead of Trent to the England squad at times and starting at right back ahead of Trent.
Tuchel had big problems with his fitness, not just staying fit, but his ability to last 90 minutes. He had big problems when
that's what I'm saying. These injury problems have really held.
I'm not talking injuries. I'm talking fitness.
Yeah, but it's all to do with the injuries that he's had. Is the fitness? It's all part of the same package.
Maybe, but I can't say that we've seen James put a run of consistent enough games to say he's better than Trent.
In terms of availability and stuff, I'd probably prefer Trent in my squad. But in terms of what both players offer you, I would prefer Reece James.
It's not even just availability. I think when they're on the pitch, Trent has been better. When they're on the pitch, Trent has been consistently at a higher level, whereas James hasn't been. No, both. Yeah, mate. Look, better obviously going forward more, but I don't think James is
only going forward. There's no other metric that you can say Trent's been better than Reece James.
James, I don't think is that good a defender. I think he's all right. I think he's probably better than Trent because I think Trent
better than Trent.
Yeah, because Trent is poor, but I don't think James is like an amazing defender, and I don't think his defensive ability outweighs the quality, the gap quality going forward that Trent has. Because Trent is probably the best in Europe in that factor. You have to factor that in.
How many goals does he give out a season?
Not as many as he makes.
A lot.
No, I disagree. I think that's not the right narrative, in my opinion. I think Trent is an amazing right back, and I think his qualities far outweigh his deficiencies, by a lot, in my opinion. And I think we're going to see that this season. Now Liverpool more settled in the back line. 100%. I'm convinced on that. Why do you think when Liverpool was settled and had a good system and a functioning midfield, why was Trent just amazing and no one was talking about his flaws? No one was talking about what a bad defender is when Liverpool winning leagues and Liverpool getting 90 points a season. No one was saying
about what 2-3 years ago.
We're talking about two seasons ago, bro. They very nearly got a quad. Literally, not last season, the season before that.
Yeah.
No one was talking about, Trent is such a bad defender. Now, because they had a bad season and his flaws got exposed, and they did, and he does have those flaws, people are saying, oh, look, he's a bad defender. But Trent is world class, bro. He is unbelievable. Trent is the best ball playing right back in Europe.
Why was Reece James getting in the England team ahead of Trent? Why are they keep trying to change Trent's position to get the best out of his attacking qualities? Because he's not good enough defensively.
He's good enough to play that role.
That's why they keep trying to copy and change his position.
Teams playing inverted fullbacks now. It's the trendy thing to do. It's what people are doing, and Trent would be the best at it to do that. So it's only right that you adjust his position.
Southgate has called him up as a midfielder, not a right back in this international.
Okay. Because they have a good right back, so you can afford him to have a midfielder.
Yeah, but why, if he's this world class right back,
he is a world class right back.
Why are they not putting him in his position where he's the world class at?
Because he can play in other positions, and you've got other good right backs as well.
Yeah, we've all got other good centre mids as well.
No, well, I don't know who's going to start. Maybe Trent will start in centre mid. I don't know.
Yeah, he's going to start at centre mid because he's got the quality on the ball, which is unbelievable. His quality on the ball is absolutely world class. But you put him at right back, the defensive deficiencies come out time and time again.
But they've won leagues with him at right back.
Okay, fine.
And he's been there for years and years at right back, and he's been world class.
They won leagues. They've won one league
and a Champions League, and they've gone to the last day twice with Man City. Mm-hmm. So that. Yes, okay, fine. They won one league, but let's not diminish how good they were. They were unbelievable.
That's and he was just down to Trent, though. It's down to a whole team unit.
Yeah, and he was a massive part of that.
If Reece James was at right back for Liverpool, I mean, I don't think that would have taken away from what Liverpool did those seasons.
If he could stay fit, yeah, maybe.
Look, the only thing is the injuries.
No, and also I don't think he's as good as Trent. I don't think he's as good as Trent on in that system. I don't think he would be as effective at all, to be honest. I don't.
I think Reece James can do it going forward as well. And I granted that Trent is much better going forward and he's got world-class abilities, but I think you're forgetting how good Reece James is and has been, because I think he is as well as a world-class right back.
I'm not forgetting how good Reece James is. You can't call a player world-class right back when he hasn't consistently played at a world-class level. You just can't do it. I don't see how you can do it.
But I think when he's on the pitch, he does it. I
don't think he does. I don't think he does. And last season he didn't at all. So for me, like, how long? He's only been like what, 4 years since Reece James has broken into the Chelsea team. Has he really? When has he ever played at world class level consistently over a whole season?
I mean, it was at the time when he was getting called up to the England squad ahead of Trent and playing ahead of Trent.
Okay,
and
so there was a period.
Even one point where Trent didn't get called up for England.
Yeah, there were periods where that happened. But players go through bad form. I'm saying Trent has been, since 2017, since he's been to Liverpool team, he has been unbelievable. And people are bang on about last season when he had a poor season. Liverpool had a poor defensive season, and people are, I think, focused way too much on Trent and his flaws. And I'm not saying he doesn't have those flaws. I'm just saying what he gives you far outweighs those flaws. And I don't think James has any of those attributes that far outweigh any of his flaws.
Well, look, at the end of the day, I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one, because we're just going to keep going around.
Because I think Liverpool go above Chelsea.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't, because I think, first of all, Chelsea have a lot more players in to cover the back line. I don't know. Again, we're going to have to get a deciding vote.
So we're going to ask the Chelsea fan.
Chelsea third, Liverpool fourth.
Yeah, of course.
Do you actually think that, or are you just saying that because you're a Chelsea fan?
I think Liverpool go ahead of them.
Liverpool, okay.
All right. So Liverpool get the deciding vote. Liverpool go into third, and Chelsea go into fourth. And now it's between Arsenal and Man City for the top two. And I think, look, you can't look past Man City for number one, even though they don't have probably the numbers there. Everyone that they have is world class. Diaz, Ake, Gvardiol, Akanji, Stones, Walker, and then they got Lewis as well, which, you know, he's not world class, but he's still good. Walker, I mean, you're talking about probably the best right back in Premier League history. John Stones, who I think has been incredible for the past couple of years. Akanji has come in and done a really good job. Gvardiol, unbelievable signing. Nathan Ake, I think he's growing in stature every year, and Diaz is Diaz. So I think Man City probably going to first by a landslide, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. And not only what I really love about the Man City backline is anyone can play anywhere almost, and that's that. So it negates the fact to need the numbers in the depth when like compared to other teams. Like Gvardiol can play left back or centre back. Ake can play left back or centre back. Akanji can play right back or centre back. Stones can play midfield, right back or centre. Like anyone can play anywhere. So and they're all.
If that all fails, you've got Lewis there just to
exactly
in anyway.
So for me, like they have to be top. They're unbelievable options, unbelievable talent, and Arsenal going second.
In terms of Arsenal, though, like you got centre back options Saliba, Gabriel. I think Saliba's actually world class, but I don't think out of the other defenders there's any real world class players there.
Yeah, you know what? You're gonna make me talk me into Liverpool being second, but I'm looking at like Arsenal's backline, and Ben White's a very good right back. Zinchenko's a very good left back. You got Saliba's world class and Gabriel, who I think's really good. Who's their depth? You got Tomiyasu, you got Kiwior.
I like Kiwior. I think Kiwior's actually a good player.
Haven't seen enough of Kiwior, to be fair. I don't rate Cedric. Like, I don't know. I know they were brilliant last season, Arsenal, and obviously we're going to be basing it a lot on last season. But I truly believe that Liverpool sorting.
You've just got a hard on for Liverpool.
I'm telling you, I truly no. It's not about a hard on for Liverpool. Liverpool, like I think people are just forgetting because they had a bad season last year how good they were under Klopp. And now they've sorted out their midfield. You're going to see a different Liverpool. You're already seeing, in my opinion, a different Liverpool this season. You've got to remember they're 15 games unbeaten in the Premier League now.
Yeah.
Going back from the end of last season. So they really sorted themselves out. And for me, Trent is better than Ben White, in my opinion. Robertson is better than Zinchenko. And then you got Saliba, who, even though I love Van Dijk, I think Saliba's probably better than him right now. And then Konate and Gabriel, it's quite even. Maybe shade it for Gabriel. So I don't know. It is very even. And then, but I think with the what's it called, the backups, I don't know. I mean, you got Tomiyasu, you got Kiwior. I mean, who's their backup? I guess you put Ben White as backup centre back.
I know Timber's out for the rest of the season.
Timber's there.
You still have to add him in there. I mean,
Timber's great.
Timber is an unbelievable player.
Timber might be better than Robertson. Or Trent potentially.
The thing is, Timber comes in, and when Timber came in, you're thinking, "Wow, Arsenal are starting to have really good depth in centre back." It's just a shame for them that he got an injury on his debut and did an ACL. Because if he was around, I think this is comfortably Arsenal in second, to be honest. But now he is injured for the rest of the season. I do think it's more of a conversation.
Yeah, it's more of a conversation. I just think people are underestimating Liverpool, in my opinion. I think at the moment you have to put Arsenal ahead of them because they're just more functioning at the moment. Last season they were really solid. Well, to be fair, defensively they didn't actually have the best season defensively. They conceded like 43 goals.
Who's that?
Arsenal. Like they were good.
Didn't they keep the most clean sheets last season?
Did they? No, I think Man City must have.
Well, they were definitely in the top.
They were in the top. They're in the top. I'm saying goals conceded. They conceded like 43 goals, which which isn't like an amazing number for a top 4 team. So,
and they've already conceded 4 goals this season.
I mean, we're not talking about Ramsdale. We're just talking about the backlines. I'm talking myself into Liverpool being above Arsenal, to be honest.
Yeah, soon you're going to talk yourself into Liverpool above Man City.
No, I don't. No, I can't. Man City are just ridiculous. They're a different level. I think it's very close between Liverpool and Arsenal, to be honest. I'm thinking about it more. I might prefer Liverpool's.
Any opportunity to put Arsenal down one, I'm all for. So.
I think you just got to stay with Arsenal. Stay with Arsenal second.
I'm just looking who kept the most.
It was De Gea, wasn't it?
De Gea actually 17. Ramsdale got 13. Actually, Alisson kept more clean sheets than Ramsdale last season.
There you go. So Liverpool have to be second.
They must.
They must.
All right. Put Liverpool second and Arsenal third.
There you go.
And this is where we go. I can't believe I wanted Liverpool in 5th and they end up going in 2nd.
I'm tired to
That
talk you
is
out of it.
ridiculous. But anyway, let's summarize this and see where we're at. Brighton are down in 10th, West Ham in 9th, Villa in 8th, Newcastle 7th, Spurs in 6th.
I would have told you Spurs above Newcastle after last season.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't have believed me.
Crazy. Man United in 5th, then Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Man City. So that's where we're at. And yeah, I mean, in terms of where we think the teams are going to finish this season, I do think that's going to be the top 3 in that order. I think it could very well be Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal in that order. So, and that's what they say. Great defenses win leagues and great attacks win games. And maybe that's what you're going to see this season.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that is our 1 to 10 in backlines this season. Let me know if you think we've made any mistakes. Who do you think? Who did you agree with the big debates that we did have? Aston Villa against Newcastle, Liverpool against Arsenal, Liverpool against Chelsea. Let us know in the comment section below. And thank you everyone for watching today. And we'll see you next time.